Hello, everybody. Found a Richard with a contest entry into Steve Carlson's show your go-to. He said, show your 5 go-to albums. I don't have 5 go-to albums. Brought to you by Peroni. Steve Carlson, he does he calls it the morning show. He wakes up extremely early. And what's ironic about that, more often than not, when I watch his video, I haven't gone to bed yet. It's either because I'm at work and I don't get off till 6:30 in the morning, or I'm staying up late watching YouTube videos and having a few of these, and I end up going to bed like 4 in the morning. That way I sleep most of the day and I got to go to work that night. That hits the whistle. Man, my last video, I pretty much downed the whole beer. I think I might do it this time. Anyways, before I go, my little rant of the day. Things are weird, man, right now in the U.S. Monday Night Football. Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts. My New York Jets looked horrible against the Patriots. Oh my God. And on the political side of it, I mean, Hillary Clinton's seen communists around every corner. You know, it's like, jeepers. Let's get on with it. I have a few here. First one I'm going to show is a comp. It's a double album, Nuggets, original artifacts from the first psychedelic era, 1965 to 1968. I love the Nuggets series. The one I played, like Nuggets 1, Nuggets 2, Nuggets 3, 4, and 5. I played those to death. But this is the original one. This is a reissue of the original one. And it's got Electric Prunes, the Standells, Knickerbockers, the Blues Project, Shadows of the Night, the Seeds, and pretty well-known bands, you know. But it is one of the best comp series there is. Now, a garage, I guess I should say, I listen to garage, and when I do, I tend to listen to it a lot. I listen to punk, and then I listen to punk a lot, and I listen to psych now. And then I have my mainstream stuff. But out of the garage, that isn't a series. This is a really good one. Midnight to 66, 14 Long Lost U.S. Garage Punkers. And there are a lot of series that are great. Back to the Grave is one of the best ones. In fact, Back to the Grave Volume 1, I couldn't find it, and I didn't want to spend time. This is Volume 10, fantastic stuff. Back from the Grave. Start with Volume 1. If you don't like that, then you're probably not going to. Another really good series is the Fort Worth Teen Scene. This is Volume 1. Man, there were so many good bands from Fort Worth. And the Pebbles. This is Volume 5. Garner's the one that told me about this one. I think I used to only have 1 and 2, you know. Now, someone commented, how come you always show these obscure records? Show some Grand Funk. And this one here was a go-to, man, back in the early 70s. Grand Funk, their second album, the Red Album. I dig this album, dude. Look how adorable. But yeah, that's a classic cover too, dude. And another one that I played a lot was this one. Grand Funk, Closer to Home. After this, I did buy their albums, but I've purged them all. I don't know. With the exception of this one. Grand Funk Live album. I kept this one. I like it. I did not play it, or I do not play it as much as those other two. Now, along that same vein, I have to show some Led Zeppelin. Probably in the 70s, I played Led Zeppelin 2 more than any of the others. That was my favorite Led Zeppelin album. It still might be. But through the years, this is probably the one that's gotten the most spins. Now, the thing about your go-to albums, often they're your favorites, or I wouldn't say best, but your favorites, but not always, you know. But this one is probably my favorite Byrds album. I play this one more than any of the other ones, and probably second would be the Ballad of Easy Rider. Their debute's great too, but actually, I don't have a Byrds album that I don't like, and I have them all, with the exception of Sweetheart at the Rodeo. That's probably my least favorite Byrds album. Another one that I played to death, Bob Marley and the Wailers, Rastaman Vibration. This is the first Bob Marley album I ever bought. I bought it the summer it came out. There was a write-up in Rolling Stone. Before that, I had never heard of the guy. And this is still probably... This one in Natty Dread, is it? Fantastic shit. Now, this is an example. Stephen Stills Manassas. It's not a... I wouldn't say it's a great album. But this is a go-to because it has a perfect side. Side 1 of this album is absolutely perfect, and I play it a lot. Now another one. Also, I kind of thought, you know, are you going to show your go-tos when you're, you know, just you want to listen, or when people are over? And I'm kind of doing this geared towards when people are over. Now, people don't come over as much now, and I don't play records for people anymore. It's more, I don't know, more on my own, but whatever. I digress. This is one I play a lot. Still do. Is it my favorite Lou Reed album? No. That would probably be Berlin. But every time I've ever played Berlin for people, it's like, oh, can you change it? This is a downer, you know. But yeah, fantastic boot. Another one that I played a lot, Ohio Players, Skin Tight. Fantastic, dude. I was probably a freshman in college when I found out about this album. I went over to this hippie couple's house they used to buy weed from, and they put it on, and man, I was blown away, dude. Probably a surprise to some, but I play this album quite a bit when I don't feel like listening to punk or garage or, you know, something a little mellow. I, more often than not, pull this album. I think it's pretty much a darn near perfect album. It's, I don't know, I dig it. Art Garfunkel, Breakaway. This is another one I play a lot. I like the Faces. I like Rod Stewart's 60s and early 70s stuff. And in the early 70s, the Faces are one of my favorite bands. I am a bigger fan of the Faces than I am the Small Faces. I only have one Small Faces album, and it turns out that's a bootleg. But yeah, I want to get some Small Faces. But I dig this album. Side 1 especially, it's a perfect side. People would come over, I would play that, and side 2 is really great too, with the exception of the song Memphis. It's 5.5 minutes, and it gets a little repetitious. It's not. This is King Crimson Lizard, is it? Yeah, Lizard. Their second album. I think this is much better than the first. I'm not a big fan of the first album. I think it starts off with a 20th century schizoid man. Man, I remember the first time I heard that, I go, oh wow, this is great. And then it goes into this, this broke crap. This is a little more quirky, jazzy, and I think it's fantastic. Indoor Games, Happy Family. I mean, love this shit, dude. Another one that might surprise people is Kenny Loggins and Jim Messina. They were fantastic together, dude. Almost all of their albums are great. This is my favorite, Motherload. It's a perfect album, darn near. And these guys, man, I saw them at concert. They were fantastic. Now, when they went solo, Kenny Loggins blew up. But I think I don't like it. I bought Jimmy Messina's first solo album and it was a turd. But yeah, together, man, they were great. Another late 70s, I think. 1980. Prince. Dirty Mind. I like this album a lot. I think it's pretty much perfect. There's not a bad song on it. I had a few Prince albums. I got rid of them all. For me, Prince is pretty much unlistenable now. With the exception of this one. I kept this one and I kept the Black album. But I don't really listen to the Black one. I just kept it because of its rareness. But yeah, this is a great funk album. Another great funk album is Lakeside. Fantastic Voyage. This is great shit, dude. Look at that. Pirates. Aye, aye, aye. What's a pirate's favorite fast food restaurant? Arby's. Rick James, Street Songs. Man, this is a go-to album, dude. See, this is a side of me that people maybe don't know. I do like funk music, and this is a great one, man. Rick James. Side 2, Super Freak, Fire and Desire, Call Me Up, and then it ends with Below the Funk, Pass the J. In 80s music, I don't listen to a lot of it. Punk I do. But this is my favorite Psychedelic Furs album. It's one that to this day, I listen to a lot. And when it came out, I listened to it a lot. I had a cassette of it, and I listened to it a lot in the car. Their second album, Talk, Talk, Talk. Their first album I like, but this is the one for me. It is just fantastic, dude. Now, a genre that I've gotten into in the last maybe 4 or 5 years, a little more deeply. I mean, I always liked psych music, Incense and Peppermints. I knew those songs, and I always dug that shit. But recently, after watching different BC channels, Psyche Derek, Dead Wax 66, the Hog's Ear Report, and I started getting into the psych music, and these two are probably the two I listen to. I don't know if I'd say more than any, maybe pretty close. I just can't get enough of these dudes. The LA-based Kaleidoscope, A Beacon from Mars, and Side Trips. They're pretty weird. They mix a whole bunch of different stuff, but I dig them, man. The guy's vocals are kind of, he sounds like a pirate, But I dig it. One that the VC turned me on to was the Churchills. And I think it was Dallas Pez up in Canada. He got an original of this. This reissue came out, and I jumped on it, and a lot of people in the VC did. But yeah, a band from Israel, the Churchills, a fantastic psych album. This is a fantastic psych album also. It's the West Coast Pop Art Experimental Band, Volume 3. This is my favorite one by them. It's the only one I have by them. I would get the other ones if I see them. I see the reissues, but I'd like to get the originals. But this is my favorite. And my last psych one I'm going to show was a Record Store Day release, and it's The End, Introspection. This is fantastic psych. British psych. That album, The Temples, when it came out a few years back, I read an article and I bought it right away. And man, I loved it. I dig that album to this day. And when I bought this, Hog Zero Report is the one that brought this to my mind. It didn't even register. And he, in a comment, he goes, "Did I read right? Or are they releasing the end?" And it's produced by Bill Wyman of the Rolling Stones. And this is fantastic, dude. But when I first listened to this, and I'm listening to, oh shit, that's where the Temples got that sound from, you know. And of course, I'm gonna end it with some punk go-tos. And these, honestly, I didn't overthink this when I made this video. For me, this was an easy video to make. But I ended up pulling more than I thought I was. But these are definitely my go-tos. I play these albums a lot. Back in the 80s, after my divorce, I was going to punk shows, and Tom moved in next door, 2 houses over, and then Chris, the goth guy, 2 houses from him. A lot of dudes used to come to the house, we'd party. And these are ones that I played a lot back then, and I still do. The Angry Samoans, Back from Samoa. And most of these are like fun albums, you know. This side 1 of this is Gas Chamber, The Todd Killings, Lights Out, Poke Your Eyes Out. My Old Man's a Fatso, Time Has Come Today, the Chambers Brother cover. They Saved Hitler's Cock, and it ends with homosexual. To this day, I drive my wife crazy. We'll be somewhere and I'll blurt it out. Homosexual! Man, she gets pissed. The next one, Adolescence, their debut. This is a fantastic album, dude. It really doesn't have a bad song on it. And I always found this amusing. The opening track is I Hate Children. And these guys are kids, you know? I always thought that was funny. I mean, there are youngsters there. One that I always put on when people would come over is the Cockney Rejects Greatest Hits Volume 2. And whenever Oi 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 came on, man, it would get people going, you know. Oi Oi Oi, you know. The Crude, Gather Around, Long Beach Band, 4 Mexican dudes. In fact, on the bottom here it says, Made in the USA by Mexicans. This is fantastic. If you can find it, good luck. It's only a one-sided record, but back in the 80s, more of my friends were more like metal guys than punkers. I had a couple of friends that were punkers, Scott, but as the decade went on, we kind of lost contact. That's when I started hanging around Tom and Robert and Chris. And this is one that the metal dudes love. Fucking Gather Around. The other one is Stains. SST band. Another 4 Mexican dudes from Boyle Heights, East LA. Not far from where I live. Fantastic album here. And of new bands or new releases, I pulled 2 that I play more than all my others. And Courtney Barnett, sometimes I sit and think, and sometimes I just sit. I think that's the best title of an album ever. It's up there. This is a quirky, great album. Courtney Barnett is a great songwriter, and I play this quite often. And I'm going to end it with La Luz's last album, Floating Features. When this album came out, I wasn't a big fan. In fact, I think I said every song kind of sounds the same and they kind of all blend into one another. And I remember James Griffith said, you know, I kind of like albums like that. And I don't know. I didn't listen to it for a while. Then I listened to it again with what he said in mind, and this, I think it's my favorite La Luz album now. It's a better produced than their other 2, but you know me, that I like the unproduced shit. But I don't know, man. It's just a really cool album, and I've been going to this one a lot. That's it. I hope this wasn't too long. He's gonna watch every video all the way through, you know. Take care. No comment about the World Series. I don't want to jinx anybody. Oh, and I don't want to talk baseball. Those UK guys get pissed.